What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Armory. Before I start, I want to once again remind everyone that I have a Discord server that I use for announcements and communication, and as always, the link for that is going to be in the description. It would make me very happy if you join that. So anyway, the weapon we're taking a look at today is the Back Scratcher, and the reason that we're doing this may or may not be because I own a strange professional killstreak one that I want to show off. So first off, let's take a look at the stats. The Back Scratcher gets an extra 25% damage bonus and 50% more health from health packs in exchange from getting 75% less health from healing sources like medics or dispensers. Now arguably the stat that everyone knows with the Back Scratcher is the damage. 25% extra damage makes this thing a beast, as it does 81 damage on normal hits and a whopping 244 on criticals. 244 damage is going to delete anything that's not a heavy, and even then heavies are going to be a single hit away from death after you do. The health pack restoration bonus is also pretty nice, since it makes small health packs restore 52 health instead of 35, and medium health packs restore 132 health instead of 88. The problem with this weapon, though, and this is the same problem that all Pyro melees face, is that Pyro is rarely, if ever, going to actually use his melee, save for maybe medieval mode or something. If you're playing Pyro, you're going to have some variation of the flamethrower equipped, and this does more sustained damage and has a longer range than all of your melee options. Because of this, unlike a lot of the other increased damage melee weapons like the Skull Cutter or the Warrior Spirit, Pyro isn't normally going to make super good use of the increased damage stat. So even though the damage is nice to have, from here on out I'm only going to be judging this weapon from a utility standpoint and not an actual weapon standpoint. This actually is a great time to bring up the con to this weapon and all that entails. The only statistical downside to this weapon is that you get 75% less healing from healers. Now for stuff like dispensers and payloads, this is just something that kind of sucks since there's nothing to really support that, but when there are medics concerned, this can actually be a blessing in disguise. Medic gets ubercharged much faster when he's actually restoring health versus when he's just healing someone that's already at full health, and this weapon makes it take a longer amount of time to fully heal you, so the medic is going to build his ubercharge a lot faster when he's healing you and you're hurt. The numbers that this generates are numerous and boring to list, but luckily for you, some poor soul with much less of a life than I have has compiled all of them on the wiki page. So if you're really interested in seeing how the Back Scratcher affects the ubercharge rates of each individual medigun, you'll find them there, and I'll put the link in the description just for you. The Back Scratcher actually does have one more hidden downside that's shared with all Pyro melees, and that is that it's not the power jack. Now I'll go over the power jack in a future video, but just know for now that it's so good that its sheer existence makes all other Pyro melees a worse choice in comparison. The last thing to really talk about with the Back Scratcher is its design and overall feel using it. While the design is subjective, I personally really like it. I think the bloody bent prongs of the rake make it look extremely menacing and brutal, which actually does complement its increased damage pretty nicely. And I'm not going to lie, it is extremely satisfying to one-hit crit someone into the Shadow Realm with this thing. Watching their body go flying while the minus 244 critical appears in their place brings me great joy that really no other weapon can replicate. Overall, this weapon is a much better choice than stock, and although that's not really a hard thing to beat, it is still a pretty solid second choice to the power jack. Even though you're probably not going to get a whole lot of mileage from the increased damage, there are occasional situations where you will, and it is satisfying as crap when you actually do. The increased healing from health packs also make this a great choice for pubs if you don't have a medic, and even if you do have a medic, it gets you pretty good self-sustainability when he's not around. Although the downside of being gimped from healing sources sucks for you, your medic will love you if you do end up using this thing because his ubercharge will increase much faster. Oh, also, from here on out, I'm going to be placing each weapon that I review into a custom tier list that I made. It should be noted that I don't have enough experience from a competitive standpoint to be reviewing weapons that way, so this list is just kind of for the general usage of a weapon, whether that be on pubs, community servers, or really wherever you're going to actually use this thing if you're not a high-level competitive player. As for the Back Scratcher, I placed this in the solid side grade tier, which you can see alongside everything else I've currently reviewed, so, I mean, take a look at that really fast before I end the video. Well, anyway, that about covers all there is to say about the Back Scratcher, so I will see you next time.